Greetings, fellow songwriters and seekers, and welcome back to Muse and Measure. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that guy on the lotus pedal down below and join us on these many quests through the journey of songwriting, the spiritual aspect of it especially. Tom from Pueblo, Colorado. I used to live in Colorado. I've been to Pueblo. It's a very cool city. He asks, how do you tell the difference between compromise that weakens a song and collaborations that deepen it? So I think what you're getting at here, Tom, is that when you're collaborating with someone and they are really dead set on a certain aspect of a song, maybe their chorus or a chord progression or a melody, and you just can't stand it. And maybe you are diplomatic and you don't just come out with it, but like you definitely have this point where you're going to have to say, I don't like that. I don't like that section. And it seems like they're really loving it and embracing it. So this has happened many times when I've collaborated with people. And my personality is not to be so confrontational and not so judgmental and say, oh, that sucks. No, we got to drop that. My approach has always been to, first of all, like you can leave it alone for a while. So like, if you really don't like a section, just say, okay, well, we'll go back to that later, And usually the person that you're collaborating with will come to their senses and realize that what they created in that section is not good, and they'll agree with you. Or I may change my mind and actually say, oh, actually, I was just in a bad mood that day, or I was listening to it with the wrong perspective, and now I actually think it works and I like it. Or, the other approach is you say, okay, well, that's cool, but can we try out some other things with that section? I think that it could actually, could use some other things in there. It could be spiced up a little bit. Let's try some different chords, or why don't you go high on the melody there? Or let's try changing the lyrics a little bit. I think it's a little too much on the nose. Or we could be a little bit more poetic with the lyrics. I really like what you're doing, and that's a really cool idea. Let's see if we can spice it up with the lyrics a little bit. So let's focus on the lyrics. So there's different ways, And you learn this, I've learned this, especially through being a school teacher, because, students are submitting songs to me all the time, and I can't just say this is garbage. You have to learn how to be diplomatic and when you disagree about an aesthetic choice. And you've got to, always start with a compliment. Hey, that's really cool. I really like what you did there. That's really interesting. And then you follow it up with some kind of suggestion, which is not saying, I don't like it, it's horrible. You're following up and opening things up. And what this does is it doesn't shut down the other person, because if you say, I don't like that, they're going to shut down and they're going to get defensive, and it might ruin your whole songwriting session. It might even ruin your whole collaboration because they were hurt, their feelings were hurt. And it's, this is an ego trip, all of this. And that's the spiritual dimension of collaboration and songwriting in general, is that it is like you're putting yourself out there and you're going to be judged, and whenever you're judged harshly, it's just you have this egoic response, which is a defense mechanism, and it's to shut down, to either start hating yourself or thinking that you're no good and you suck, which I know as musicians and songwriters, a lot of us are prone to. This self-doubt is a nagging thing that we all have to deal with. So when you're in a room with one other person, and you're just pouring it out, and they say something that's really comes across as harsh to you, then it's just that's the end of it. It's going to be hard to work with them again. So being diplomatic about it and, saying, oh, that's really cool, but can we try something else with that? I like that idea. Let's record that idea and keep that, but I want to just explore that a little bit. I think I'm hearing some other stuff over that. And so it opens it up. It keeps the dialogue going. Now, if they are stubborn and adamant and they say, no, it's perfect the way it is, let's move on to some other section, you might say, oh, okay, well, let's revisit it next time then. Because obviously they have some kind of emotional connection with it, and they are fixated on it, and they're not going to let it go. So sometimes you just have to swallow it and accept certain parts of the song also. It's just you have to pick your battles. So if there's some part of a song that you don't like, you have to ask yourself, well, is it worth it to jeopardize the song ever getting completed, to jeopardize this collaboration relationship that I'm having? Is it worth it to to get my way on this particular part of the song, or can I live with it and say, okay, that's fine. And I've had to do that a lot as a collaborator. You know, there's some things that I just like maybe don't like so much that I thought could be better, but I end up accepting it because the other person really, really gets a lot out of it. And you know, this is the same way when you listen to music. Like, look at the top 40. All this music that's out there that people love that you may, you know, think is total garbage. Well, there's something that resonates with them. And so you're not the perfect god of music that's going to know what is great in music. You obviously have your opinions, and those are important. But at some point, you know, compromising is okay. And you can just say, okay, well, I don't really like the chord progression they had on the bridge there, but, you know, it's not worth it for me to sabotage this song and to sabotage this relationship. So sometimes compromise is necessary. It's just like any other relationship, you know. It's like a love relationship or a friendship. And so there's going to be all these little bumps in the road that come along. And, you know, you're going to learn a lot from them if you have the right attitude, and you're going to be better, and the other person's going to be better. And as we know from our relationships, they can very much devolve into just this bickering and this negative energy. You know, especially if we found somebody who we really resonate with, because usually when you resonate with someone, they are on the opposite pole of you, and you guys can help complete each other as far as being ideal songwriters, because they are coming with skills that maybe you don't have, they have a perspective that you don't have, and vice versa. And so that's probably what drew you together, just like in a love relationships, you know, that old cliche that opposites attract. They attract, and then of course they repel like crazy too. This is where all the friction comes, and this is where the chemistry is. And that's where the magic comes through too. If you look at a lot of some of the great songwriting duos, they had definitely had a lot of friction, maybe not during their golden period, but later on they maybe never spoke to each other again because they got to those places. Because you're really being vulnerable with somebody, and then when they're judgmental back to you, then it's really, really hard to take, and it really makes you feel horrible about yourself. And so those are just, you know, ways that a relationship pushes your buttons. But by pushing your buttons, it's a chance to either shut down and to go back into your cocoon and be defensive, or it's a chance to open up. And that's why it's a spiritual practice. Is hopefully you have a moment where you have a moment of clarity and you say, okay, well, instead of shutting in, I'm going to open up now and drop it for a second and be open to the situation and see what happens. All right, Tom, well, thank you so much for your question. And if you have any other follow-up questions or comments or want to share your collaboration stories, please put it down in the comments section below. All right, take care.